Hello, my name is Young-jin Park, and this is the audio commentary for my short film, Seasons of Us. I know that only a handful of people will probably end up watching this, but I thought this would be a fun way to express my thought process and, share some of the fun or, not so fun behind the scenes things that you don't get to see on camera. So, this shot right here, I filmed this in front of the house I lived in on campus. So this was in my final year of school. And a lot of these houses had this round circular structure. I'm not really sure what they were for, but they had these round circular structure in front of each building. And I always thought, oh, those look really cool to shoot through, like to frame something. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the full frame. There wasn't a lot of space behind the structure, kind of pressed up against the wall, but still I think it turned out pretty alright.
Yeah. I don't know, I kind of love it.
I'm glad. Alright, hey, I gotta go pack.
Yeah, totally. Good luck with that.
So this is the first scene of the film, but I believe it was actually the very last day that we filmed. And that's the first transition. So of course the big idea of this film is that I wanted to tell the story of perhaps a traditional, or I don't know, non-traditional, a bit dramatized I suppose, story of a relationship, but told in reverse, and with each time period marked with a match cut. As you might see later on, those match cuts don't always work out too well, but I tried. Perhaps I should have worked a little harder on that, but
Then why are you doing
it turned out alright.
Now,
So this day of filming was probably the worst. Worst planned, at least. Schedule, I was a little rushed. This was near the ending of my filming, and also the ending of the school year, so I had to get things rushed to get things done quick. And I picked a pretty bad day to film. As you can tell, the sun was just glaring down. It's really bright. The colors are all blasted out. The lighting is terrible. And you see these giant shadows everywhere. If you noticed earlier, the scene when they were walking forwards, you could actually see the shadow of my camera on the actors, which is really embarrassing in hindsight. I also had to letterbox that scene to cut off the mic that actually got on camera. A lot of things went wrong that day. This shot I was really happy about, and there's the match cut again, the second one. That one, if you notice, wasn't exactly perfect, but still, I especially liked the contrast between the lit up library and the darkness around. I would pass by the library a lot at night, and I always was impressed at the visuals. And a lot of this film came up from my thoughts of, hey, this place looks like a cool idea, a cool place to shoot from. A lot of very interesting architecture at my school, and glad I was able to take care of it at my last film on the grounds. This scene was very complex, and big props to my actors Connor and Jill for keeping up with me. I put them through the ringer for this one. This was shot in the winter, very cold, and I did perhaps more takes than was necessary. But the take we ended up using right here, I think, turned out really well. I'm really glad. Really happy with the way my actors delivered. Also, special props to the guy who helped me with my sound, Matt. This was the one where I really required someone to hold up a boom pole, and he delivered. And I also put him through hell with this one. Managed to keep up with me while we were both walking backwards on slippery ground. Of course, now a lot of the scene was very shaky, and I wish I could have stabilized it better, but it was the best I could do with, I think, the kind of janky shoulder-mounted rig I had, the very cheap shoulder-mounted rig. There were a couple different ideas I had for that shoot, but I think that was ultimately the most interesting
Mind if I
idea.
accompany you to your
Perhaps the most difficult, but at least the most interesting. So right here, this is a walkway on campus that every time I walk by,
Why?
I was just obsessed with. Again, showing how pretty much most of this film was just with places I want to film at. But when you just look right down, you'll see it better in a shot later on, but you just look right down
How should we
the
celebrate?
trees, and it's just a really gorgeous walkway, especially in this season when the trees are all bright red. I had to make sure
Shut
I picked the
up.
perfect timing for this
love it.
scene.
H5. You're never gonna let that go, are you?
I never want to forget about it.
Let me put it
So
on.
the locket
All right.
right here, we had a lot of trouble with this one. At least I had a lot of trouble. This is actually the actress's Jill's locket. Very happy that she let me borrow that.
Not so bad.
We also ended
You
up
know,
breaking the
I
chain
feel the same,
in the last scene when we had to pull it off.
you know?
Sorry about that
I
one.
think I have the best boyfriend in the world.
I actually had a locket that I bought very cheap
I gotta kick his ass.
for filming, but on the very first day I ended up losing it. So that was a bit of a bummer, especially at the start of production. But I was glad we were able to fix that and move on. And here we see the shot I'm talking about with the walkway. I was just obsessed with this angle. This is probably the best match cut, at least execution-wise, that we ended up doing. This is actually filmed on the same day as the very first scene. You might be able to tell by the fact that both Connor and Jill are wearing the same exact clothes.
But pen pad won't work, so
What's your housing assignment?
H6.
Okay. So this is H5. This is actually my house. H6 is right over here.
Oh my god, I am so sorry.
Don't worry about. Seriously, don't
Really
worry about it.
embarrassing.
It's
I'm
totally
so
fine.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So this was a bit of an improvised shot. It was near the end of the day,
See you around.
and I kind of really needed to wrap things up. So I decided, screw it. Instead of the whole back and forth I wanted to do, let's just do a quick pan over, full shot. The composition's a little rough, but I think it turned out alright. And of course we end once again on that circular structure, which I love so much as a framing device. I think it turned out really well. Well, anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a very nice day.